Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by Apex Irons from Callaway.
Hello, I'm Anna Whiteley and welcome into Golf Central on YouTube. The Genesis Invitational is in the books and Max Homa needed 2 playoff holes to edge out Tony Finau for the win. He began the day 2 shots off the lead and shot a 66 to claim the title. With the win, Homa jumps from 91st in the world rankings to 38th. Now we're diving into the ShotLink stats at the CDW Intelligence Center to discuss Homa's win at the Genesis Invitational. Going beyond the scorecard, Homa has a reputation as a great putter, but he was really good from tee to green this past weekend. Best 4-round performance of his PGA Tour career, gaining well over 2 strokes in a tournament that he won in a playoff. All right, so Max Homa triumphant at Riviera. Let's bring back in Trip Eisenhower. Trip, we've seen the advanced stats. Tell us more. Let's dive into it.
Well, you know, Max Homa was one of those guys who you wouldn't have probably picked to win based on his current form, although if you spin it back a week to Pebble Beach, he did finish 7th. And, you know, what he said, there was something that happened there that he hit a shot into 18, and he needed to hit it, and he did, and things kind of clicked. So I think when you have those moments the week before and you can carry it into a place that clearly was his favorite tournament. This is the one that he wanted to win probably more than any other. It was one he went to as a kid on his father's shoulders, would walk around and see all the stars, the golf stars, that is, not the Hollywood stars outside of Hollywood here at Riviera. As being a California kid, this means probably more than any place that he could have won. And to do it with Tiger Woods right there, handing him the trophy, I mean, it's so special. But how he did it really, for somebody who struggled with his driver, I mean, Max was one of those guys who really had problems with foul balls for a early part of his career. And that superstardom that we thought was going to happen was delayed a little bit. But he learned a lot about himself, and he learned how to work through that. He developed a positive attitude. That was another thing. Sometimes he could be a little down on himself. He carried himself and worked really hard the last couple of months on being very positive. He was yesterday. And on the back nine, what used to be a weakness was a strength. Not only did he hit drivers well, he hit them dead solid, hit them perfect. None more important than at the 18th hole. And then, of course, that set up a wedge to 3.5 feet, which, yes, he did miss that putt, but he rebounded and hit one of the great shots we've seen in a playoff and then gone on to win. So Max Homa win number 2. Probably number 3, Anna, is right around the corner, I would say.
Okay, so Homa grabs his 2nd career PGA Tour win, his 1st since the 2019 Wells Fargo Championship. And Sam Burns had led through the first 3 days, but his final round 69 wasn't enough to keep up with Homa and Finau. Cam Smith was under par for all 4 rounds and finished 3 strokes back, but it was Homa that came out on top at Riviera. Now, the USGA and the R&A are proposing more rule changes, this time surrounding changes to the rules of amateur status. The proposed changes are as a result of a multi-year modernization initiative that identifies the need to bring the rules up to date to reflect the global amateur game and to ensure that the rules are easier to understand. So here is what the USGA and the R&A want to do. They plan to eliminate the distinction between cash prizes and other prizes, remove competitions like long drive events and putting competitions from the scope of the rules, eliminate all sponsorship-related restrictions that's potentially big for NCAA student athletes, and provide a shorter minimum period around reinstatement. I talked with Jaime Diaz and Steve Bukowski about the proposal on Golf Today. Jaime, coming to you first, do you think this changes sort of what we think of or define as amateurism?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a big departure of what traditionally the USGA had very strict sort of boundaries on what defined amateurism. And, you know, basically it was built on the old idea of the gentleman's game, and, you know, it was sort of unseemly to make money at the game in any way. You know, caddies were even considered professionals because they took money. And, you know, back in the day, Francis Ouimet was declared a professional because he opened a sporting goods store and was deemed to have used his name to make money in golf. And Bobby Jones had to renounce his amateur status because he made some instruction films and because he took a club, this is after retirement, club contract with Spalding. So things have lessened over the years. They've eased up. But this is the boldest, I think, change going forward. And I think it's a reflection of the world we're in. Basically, you know, they want to broaden the game and make it easier for especially aspiring players to have an opportunity to have some economic support from the game without having to be a professional. It also is just realistic about, you know, what, you know, a competition really means in terms of who's actually going to become a professional. If you accept something less than $750, you're no threat to the professional game. If you go over $750, it's very clear, okay, that's the line. But, you know, and then people who make the money at the game, perhaps at the instruction level, yes, they're professionals still, and people who belong to professional golf associations are still professionals. But everybody else, I think it's kind of a laissez-faire, healthy move to make the game a little more easy to understand, number one, also to govern, and just be realistic about where the game is going today.
You know, Berko, making things easier to understand is often at the heart of this. You can sometimes read these news updates and think, huh? So sort of realistically, what impact might this have on amateur and college golf?
And it's going to be huge. It's the modernization, as Jaime alluded to, of what an amateur truly is in the game of golf. There were conversations dating all the way back to 2017 with the college associations and organizations. This didn't just happen overnight. Jaime and I did a deep dive. We're on a call with the USGA to get a better understanding and clarity. What jumps out to me, Anna, about the amateur side of it is the sponsorship ability. You go to so many of these U.S. amateur championships and girls juniors and boys juniors that we have covered for decades at Golf Channel and NBC, and you would see these national teams, maybe from Australia or other countries that had foundations and federations, and these players simply could go play golf. They didn't have to worry about the financial aspect of that. That wasn't an opportunity really available to the Americans, if you will. Now with the limits of sponsorships gone, you're now broadening the game potentially to maybe a family that simply doesn't have the money to send their son or daughter around the country, around the globe perhaps, to become one of the best amateurs in the game. So I think that's a very positive undertaking with these proposed new rules. Intrigued for the fact, though, I received clarification this morning, there is no age limit on this. So you could see, theoretically, on the other side of the equation, a 12-year-old golfer that looks like a NASCAR driver with sponsorship deals all over the place. So I think it is a very fine line. Big picture for amateur golf, I think it is a very good thing to maybe open doors that otherwise wouldn't be. And then from college, that aspect, I think it is the USGA getting ahead of the game. And it's just a matter of time till everything gets pushed through that a student athlete in college is going to get paid for their name, their likeness, their image. I think it is the USGA trying to realize this is going to happen and maybe not go hand in hand, but try to somewhat be on that same page with those student athletes playing college sports that also could open some doors, because those doors will be open. So they're trying to set some rules that are simple, clear, concise, that everybody hopefully will be on board with them come 2022.
So under the proposed changes, here are the ways golfers could lose their amateur status. By accepting a prize in excess of $750 limit, getting paid for giving instructions or lessons, and being employed as a golf club professional. You'll notice that golfers would now be allowed to accept sponsorships and still retain amateur status. And you can find full coverage on golfchannel.com.